Welcome to my super easy pincushion sew along. I've had so many requests for this, so finally, here it is. This is a lovely beginner sewing project, but it's also a great scrap buster because you just need two different styles of fabric. I'm using cotton fabrics, it's nice to sew with, and you also need some of this toy stuffing. I love this one, I bought it online and I'll pop a link to it in my Amazon stores. And you'll need a nice chunky button. First, we're going to cut two 4-inch square pieces from one of the fabrics and the same from the other. Now, the great thing about this is you could make an even bigger one. I think my blue one is actually 6 inches. But as long as you're cutting the squares all the same size, then you can make it as big or as small as you like. So once you've got your pieces, you want to put one of each type together and you're just going to sew them right sides together down one edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Give your seams a press and then you want to rotate one of the pieces of fabric so that they are diagonal to each other. Then flip those two pieces right sides together, match up the seam and pin that in place, and then pin each end. And what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be sewing 3 edges. We're not going to sew along one of the long edges. Now, taking the open edge, the 2 seams, you want to pull that open and match the opposite seams, so that you want to then pin those in place. And what we're going to do is we're just going to simply sew about 2/3 down each of those open sides, leaving a gap just in the top, which is where we're going to be putting our stuffing into the middle. So just along those 2 sides there, leaving a hole in the middle. And it should look something like this. You've got 2 1/4 inch seams, and then you've got that nice hole, which is where we're going to put the stuffing. So we're just going to clip off the corners, just so it sits nice and flat when you turn it the right side round. Just make sure you don't snip into the stitches, and then pop your thumb into one corner and poke that through, and do that on all 4 corners till you've managed to turn the whole thing the right side out. Get your trusty chopstick or knitting needle and just poke all those corners out so they're nice and sharp. And now we just want to stuff it. So I tend to put a little bit into each corner first and then I fill the rest up. And you really just want for it to be full enough so that when you're putting the pins in, they're not going all the way through to the other side and stabbing you when you go to pick up your pincushion. So once you've done that, you want to get a needle and thread, and we're simply going to sew close that hole. We're going to be sewing with double thread, so just pop a knot in the end. This was a trick that my mum told me. If you want me to show you it in slow-mo, let me know and I'll do another video on it. And to sew the hole closed, you could just whip stitch it, but I quite like doing a ladder stitch because it's neater and is a little bit more invisible. When you get to the end, just put your needle back in and take it back up to the middle, and then it's just time to sew on the button. Once you've done that, just put your needle through to the back, sew off a couple of stitches and you're done. Your very own pincushion.